Hey, what's happening? Welcome to Mates TV. I'm on holiday, but Liverpool's, recruitment team aren't. So here I am talking about Alexis Mac Allister completing his move to Liverpool with a reported fee of £35 million. Let's talk about rising up to 55 with add-ons, but the initial fee, £35 million for the World Cup winner, who looks like the jack of all trades, really, in terms of what Liverpool's midfield are going to need moving forward. For me, Alexis Mac Allister is the first piece of the puzzle and perhaps the most important piece of the puzzle. There's been a lot of talk around this that other deals have kind of been put on hiatus to make sure this one got over the line. And I thought it was really interesting to kind of read between the lines on that and wonder, well, why is that? Why would you want to make this one kind of a priority above any others when there's clearly so much work to be done? And I've kind of come down on a notion for this. I'm going to try and explain it out in terms of functionality in the minutes required to be played in Liverpool's midfield by comparison to this season and what's going to be needed in the season moving forward. But in a very top line sense, because of that jack of all trades nature, quite clearly, and you look at some of his highlight reels, which of course I'm sure everyone's done, because why wouldn't you? We know that he can play effectively all three of the midfield positions. In a classic Liverpool 4-3-3, he can do the DM job, although that's obviously not his absolute forte. And if I'm being honest, I think he's probably a little short for it in a consistent basis. But he can definitely do either eights, left or right. And even in Liverpool's current box midfield formation as well, I could quite easily see him playing where Curtis Jones plays. I could see him just as easily playing where Jordan Henderson or Harvey Elliott have been playing as well. He's got that ability. He's obviously tough. He's combative. He's very, very silky on the ball. He's got a great range of passing. He's very proactive in terms of how he carries the football and moves the ball up the pitch. He's got shades of Thiago in him in that regard, both line-breaking passes and the ability to just do a little step over, roll someone and move forward. Naby Keita, I think that's what we thought we were getting, and certainly on his best days, that's what Liverpool had in Naby Keita as well. Someone who can change the landscape, change the picture. You know, if you're trying to make a pass and that passing option isn't on where you are right now, move the ball forward 10 yards. And that's easier said than done sometimes, because you've got to have that skill set in your locker. Gini Wijnaldum was quite good at doing that, but in a more straight line running kind of way. Oxlade-Chamberlain could do that certainly as well, but again, more of a straight line running, whereas Thiago is cannier, and Keita was a bit cannier, low centre of gravity, just a little shimmy, get yourself away, and then what does the picture look like now? Has the pass developed? Yes, it has. Let's move it on. No, it's not. Let's take it back and try something new. He's clearly got everything required to be a perfect Jurgen Klopp midfielder, and as a result, that's why I think he's the first piece of the puzzle, and ultimately almost the cornerstone of the Liverpool midfield rebuild this summer. Because, and wait, I'm just going to clarify this, you're probably quite an intelligent person, but the internet is full of people who aren't, so I want to try and spell this out as quickly as possible. I'm going to say something about him, and it doesn't mean that I think this is the only midfielder Liverpool need. What I mean by what I'm going to say, and I shouldn't, why am I wasting everyone's time by prefacing what I'm about to say before I even said it? Hey, what can I say? He can do everything, so you get him in because he's not a specialist, because therefore, if the worst comes to the worst, and I don't think this will happen, but let's say everything else falls apart. Let's say a pandemic breaks out now and all your money disappears, or somebody breaks into John Henry's vault on his yacht and steals what few pennies I guess are in there. And for whatever reason, Liverpool can't get any more midfielders over the line. Or what's a slightly more realistic thing is, some deals may be a little bit harder to do. So as much as Jurgen wants them in early doors, maybe there's a couple of targets that you really do need, but they drag on for a few more weeks, or maybe they drag on for a month. You've got your main guy there. Functionally, with Fabinho, Thiago, Jones, Henderson and Elliott, you could start a season or a pre-season. Let's just say pre-season. Let's not get carried away. With those guys, with McAllister in the mix, you've boxed your most quintessential, your essential midfielder, and by that as well, he's got experience in the Premier League. He's the most seasoned and experienced of the lads we're being linked with at the moment. He's the one. get him in and let everything else follow. And look, having a World Cup winner on your squad and having the fact that he's made the decision to come to Liverpool, I don't think that harms your case, as well, because obviously the whole Europa League thing will be a bit of a turn-off to some footballers. I'm looking at you, Mason Mount. So yeah, I think that's why it is. In a more technical perspective, so I've gone through and looked at the minutes played by our midfield. I've done this a few times recently. Now that the season's finished, we've got accurate numbers on all this. Why I think this is, again, piece number one and the most important piece, because, as is referenced in every article that you see written about it, because of SEO. Liverpool have lost James Milner, they've lost Naby Keita, and they've lost Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as midfield options. Now, none of them were necessarily, huge numbers on the pitch for Liverpool last season. In fact, I've got it here. Milner plays 1,306 minutes in all comps across all positions for Liverpool this season. Naby Keita just 491 minutes for the Reds, and Ox is slightly more. It's 525. Now, what I did was I went through Milner's performances on Transfermarkt and tried to pick out the centre mid, attacking mid, DMs from the left back, right back. He plays actually far more minutes in midfield this season, which tells you everything you need to know about Liverpool's midfield depth this year, to be fair. I've averaged it out. It's not totally accurate. I reckon around 800-ish minutes I think Milner played in midfield for us, which gives us a grand total of around 1,800 minutes, there or thereabouts. It's marginal, but it's about 1,800 minutes. So you're losing 1,800 minutes of played time out of your midfield by losing those three players in a midfield that was already threadbare. Alexis Mac Allister played 3,308 minutes for Brighton in all comps last season. So immediately you're in positive numbers there. In fact, you've got 1,500 minutes surplus. He's replaced every minute that those three lads played, and he's going to play more as well. Now, obviously, I'll make this point, which is the obvious counterpoint to this. He's one man, they were three men. You can't play one man in three positions. You could have technically fielded a midfield three of Milner, Keita, and Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean, if that was your plan, good luck. I'm not sure all three of them actually started a game together, but it was a possibility, and that's why you have a squad. That's why you have multiple footballers. But moreover, what you need is lads who are robust, fit, and available. And from this, Alexis Mac Allister very much was that. What's interesting as an aside from this, just to kind of take this on one step further, Thiago played just shy of 2,000 minutes, 1,955. Fabinho played a whopping 3,534, which, yes, is 230 minutes more than Alexis Mac Allister on the season, which is nuts. Jordan Henderson played just over 2,500 as well. So, what I think you're also looking to do, and why when we're looking about what happens next in Liverpool's recruitment, I think Thiago's minutes, I think, is about right. If you get a little bit better luck with injuries, and it's possible you can get slightly better luck with his injuries without a doubt, particularly if he's not being asked to do 10 game stretches back to back to back to back because there's no one else to do it, then I think it's more likely if you can pick and choose Thiago's minutes. And we saw this in the quadruple challenge season when Keita's fit, him and Keita just rotated 60-30, 30-60, mixy-matchy, no one has to run themselves in the ground, and both players are fit for the rest of the season, up until Thiago's injury, right up before the Champions League final. Brill, by the by. What I think you want is to try and maintain that, but get a good 2,000 minutes out of Thiago, which is very possible if you've got more cover for him, and effectively what Alexis Mac Allister is, because this is what Keita was, and a bit of Ox and Milner. They're effectively Thiago's understudies. Again, the season before last now, Keita is the main understudy for Thiago. There's an important lesson for all of you young YouTubers out there. Make sure you've got enough space on your card when you're recording content. Anyway, Naby Keita, effectively the understudy for Thiago, but last season, because of the injuries, those three guys are doing it. So therefore, with Alexis Mac Allister, in covering those three guys, you're giving Thiago the ability to have his good 2,000 minutes. The next stage of what Liverpool need to do is take Fabinho, I think, down from 3,500 minutes to about 2,500, and Jordan Henderson from 2,500 down to about 2,000 I reckon. Now, that's obviously a big jump down for Fabinho, but we saw it last season. Absolutely run into the ground. Nobody looked at Fabinho's performances last year and went, yes, that. More of that, please. What we did see, right at the tail end, when Liverpool are back to playing one game a week, we saw the return of a semblance of a recognisable Fabinho form. He looked more like the Fabinho that we know and loved when he's not being asked to go and go and go and go. And a season where he looked tired and leggy and slow and physically and mentally fatigued. He played more minutes than any other Liverpool midfielder. He needed to be taken out of the firing line desperately, but we simply didn't have someone capable of doing that, or we chose not to. We doubled down on him because as a guy who's still in the prime age of his career and again physically robust, not injury prone like everyone else in Liverpool's midfield, or certainly the older lads. I can understand just about why they did it, but that needs to change this summer. Clearly the plan last summer was to get someone else in to carry this burden. Obviously Aurelien Tchouameni, very heavily linked, doesn't come off. If that was the case, you can see a world where Fabinho is a much stronger performer. That's what Liverpool have got to do. So you've got to basically bring back into the open 1,500 minutes that was being played by footballers last season, which actually kind of falls into the Alexis Mac Allister shortfall. Again, technically speaking, he can cover if he can only play the minutes for Liverpool that he played for Brighton last season, which was, remind us, 3,300-ish. He could technically replace all of the minutes played by Milner in midfield, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and take 1,500 minutes off Henderson and Fabinho, allowing them to be much more useful players. So yeah, cornerstone. Surely that makes sense, right? Again, just to reiterate my point though, when you're adding 3 more footballers into the mix, he can't do it all. He can't be a one-man midfield, and Liverpool desperately need to go out and buy at least one more guy, and I think he's got to be much more specialist DM suited than what we've got. I don't really want to see us necessarily go back to the Jordan Henderson, Fabinho as options, unless someone absolutely exceptional shows up for that current Jordan Henderson position on the right of the box. Unless somebody you're thinking, wow, he's transformational, comes up, and then you've got no choice, and that's the budget, maybe. But in reality, I think we need one for both those positions. I think we need a more DM, and we need another Jordan Henderson understudy / replacement for the long term. Might be Elliott, might not be. We definitely need another body, I think, in there. But the bare minimum you can get away with, because I think there's issues with the defence, and we might need one more for the attack. I think we probably need 2 for the defence. And if there's 4 total, if you told me 2 midfielders, a left-footed, pacey left centre-back / left full-back, and someone who can do an understudy job to Canate, and McAllister and a DM, I think that's a pretty solid, rounded business for what Liverpool need. The big question is now, McAllister takes the 10. That means we've still got the 7, 8 and 9 up for grabs. Do you think Liverpool are going to fill those positions this summer? Because you're looking at very offensive ones. I think it's very likely we'll get someone to fill the 8. Whether we'll be happy with who fills that shirt, I'm not entirely certain. Maybe someone will step up and take the 9 from within, and maybe 7. I know Harvey Elliott has been winging for that number for quite some time, but do you think Liverpool are going to buy players to fill them? Do you think they'll be filled internally? Who would you like to see fill the 7, 8 and 9 squad number slots for Liverpool? And will they be linked to the next few transfer bits of business for Liverpool in the coming weeks? Comments below. That'll be very useful indeed. I think it's an exciting signing. I really do. I think what we need to do is make sure that at least one of the new signings around them is 6'2" plus. I believe Kefren Turan falls into that category. I think Marcus does, certainly. His brother's dead soul. Yeah, great. Yeah, I think we need more. I think if we're going to carry smaller footballers, you need to have a few giants, a few really physical giants in there. I'd like to see that be the DM. I want to see someone in the Fabinho mold, but just a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more hungry to go and win the ball back at all times. I think that would really, really excite me to add to what we've got. And past that, interesting. This very much feels like that was it. Get that box and let's see what comes next. We've seen a few players linked. We've seen Manu Kone linked. We've seen, obviously, Thuram linked and Nigerian Timber and a few others. Exciting. First piece of business done. We can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief because, yeah, Liverpool now, for me, although in terms of net numbers, there's still real work to be done. I think in terms of that minutes thing, availability and quality, I think we've improved the quality of the squad with one signing, even though we've let 3 and 4 with Firmino go. That's a bit of a question mark, of course. But yeah, positive first steps. By no means should we be happy that this is all done and dusted. Lots more to do. Well, fingers crossed they can get it done now. With the transfer window opening in 6 days, I believe. The fixtures coming out on the 15th as well. Yeah, hopefully this time in a week we'll have a much clearer picture of where Liverpool kind of are starting to stand as we look towards pre-season. But yeah, that's it from me. Loads of boss content. Loads over on redmenplus.com. I say I'm on holiday. I'm just doing this because I want to talk to someone, really. There's loads of stuff on redmenplus.com. Every angle of the Alexis Mac Allister signing we have got covered. We've got expert insights. We've got journo insights. If you want to know more about Alexis Mac Allister and how he's going to fit in at Liverpool, then head over there. We've got an amazing discount code for you. It is a 50% off a yearly Redmen Plus subscription. Use the code MAC10, lowercase MAC10. MAC10 off a Club Captain yearly subscription and get it for just £25 instead of £50 for the whole year. And we've got our Bobby Firmino 3-part documentary series coming out on the 23rd of this month as well. Sensational stuff. I've just seen the rough cut of episode 2. It's the best thing we've made by an absolute mile. It blows Hendo 10 out of the park. It's the best thing a fan media channel has ever made, by far and away. And yeah, that comes out. So if you use that code MAC10, you'll get all of that, as well as everything that's going to be happening twice a week with Neil Jones on Journo Insight. It'll be sound. You'll enjoy it, I promise. And yeah, other than that, subscribe to this channel, drop a like, and have a boss, hopefully sun-filled, McAllister loving day. Cheers. Can you describe Bobby Firmino in one word?
Incredible.